here's a question for you. Are you cutting carbs and filling up on protein as all part of your New Year's resolution? Well, a new study shows some protein is actually not necessarily beneficial. This is opposite than everything that we've heard. Dr. Richard Chaffoo is here to explain. It was always like you want to lose weight.
Yes.
Protein, 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 protein. Cut the carbs, cut the carbs.
Yes.
Why?
Well, that's true, Shally, to a point. What was fascinating from this study that came out in Purdue University's nutritionists, they looked at about 1,500 research papers that looked at this issue. They were able to dial this down to about 18 studies, about 1,000 participants, about 22 different types of interventions. And what they found as a conclusion was that more is not necessarily better. So what I mean by that is we all need a certain amount of protein in our diets each day. However, unless we're really exercising and we're doing weight training or we're in a diet mode, we don't need more protein. In fact, we're probably, as Americans, consuming more protein than we need to be consuming on a daily basis.
Yes, because I know personally for me, this was ingrained in my brain somewhere. My mom was like, don't eat the rice, don't eat the rice, eat the protein. And there was points in my life where I lost weight doing it, but now the trends have changed. Things are so plant-based right now.
And you're right, and part of this is a good point. You know, we always tell our kids or tell ourselves that we want to reduce carbohydrates and saturated fats because they're harder for our bodies to process, more likely, or we're going to store those as fat. And so the concept is maybe that we've gone, you know, the pendulum swung too far in the other direction to say, well, I'm just going to keep adding more and more protein. Well, the problems with that is that if we add more and more protein, we are adding more calories. And if we're consuming more calories than we're actually using each day, it's going to get stored as fat. So protein can get stored as fat. I think that that's something that we don't necessarily understand or realize.
We don't, because many of these diets, if you look at them, and maybe some people on their New Year's resolution is I'm going to drop 15 pounds, many of these diets, Dr. Chaffoo, is very high in protein, lower on the carbs.
Yeah, and that concept I think is valid, but what we need to realize, nutritionists will tell us, is all about our calorie count, number one, and our activity level. So if we're more active, obviously we can consume more calories. If we are in a diet mode, or if we are doing strength or weight training, where we're damaging muscle, then yes, we do need more protein.
So like you have to almost adjust. I follow Nick Hardwick on Instagram, and I watch him. Like it's a calculation. Almost every single day of what he's eating, how much protein, how much carbs, based on. I'm like, how do you figure all this out? But you're saying that there is like a formula. The U.S. Department of Agriculture has recommended daily allowance of the amount of protein that we need a day, which really amounts to, in men, about 54 grams a day, and in women about 45 grams. So we're talking just a few ounces of protein a day, not what people think, well, I'm just going to go get a large 12-ounce steak, and that's protein, and therefore I'm not going to gain weight. But that 12-ounce steak has fat in it, number one, and number two, has calories in it. And if you're a sedentary person, obviously you don't need the amount of protein that someone who is very active is exercising or in a dietary mode. Those cases you do need more protein. When you talk about sources of protein, are there proteins that are better than others?
Well, there's proteins, kind of protein. So for example, poultry, meats, seafoods, nuts, soy, eggs, those are great sources of protein. I think what people need to understand is that it's not just the protein, it's what's in along with the protein. So for example, in certain types of meat, there's fat. So that's not as good for us. And there's, you know, eggs can be high in cholesterol. So again, it's that balancing. It's really understanding what you're eating. You're not eating it in isolation.
Before I let you go, do you talk to your doctor about this? You're like a nutritionist. Like, I'm sure there's people watching right now going, well, how much do I know I'm supposed to eat?
So nutritionists are great. You know, and obviously, if you're thinking of starting a weight loss plan, get in to see your doctor. But there's a lot online. There's smart scales, which are very useful to help us determine how much protein that we need on a daily basis.
So overwhelming, Dr. Chaffoo.
It is.
So overwhelming. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Shally.